Hello there, it's midnight. You're watching Nightline with me, Anita. The top stories. Datuk Seri Anwar says still thinking about possible cabinet reshuffle. And fire at wedding hall in Iraq kills more than 100. I will think about it first. This was the brief answer by Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim when asked about a possible cabinet reshuffle. He said he would ponder over it while he pointed to his temple, declining to take further questions from reporters. Anwar said this when met after delivering his closing remarks at the Huawei Malaysian ICT Summit at MITEC, Kuala Lumpur on Wednesday. Speculation of a potential cabinet reshuffle of Anwar's administration surfaced over a week ago. It gained traction after the civil service heads of 5 ministries were moved to new positions on Tuesday. It also stemmed from the need to appoint a domestic trade and cost of living minister after the death of Datuk Seri Salahuddin Ayub on July 23rd. Earlier, Communications and Digital Minister Fahmi Fazil said there was no discussion of a cabinet reshuffle at Wednesday's cabinet meeting.
Tentang reshuffle tidak dibincangkan.
He was responding to speculations about a cabinet reshuffle. It was also reported that several ministers expected to be dropped after the Pelangai by-election on October 7th. Meanwhile, Fahmi, who is also the spokesperson for the Unity Government, informed that several decisions regarding the issue of rice supply and price had already been decided at Wednesday's cabinet meeting. However, it will be announced by the Agriculture and Food Security Minister, Datuk Seri Muhammad Sabu, in the near future.
Tentang isu beras, tadi Jemaah Menteri ada bincangkan dan saya difahamkan Yang Berhormat Menteri Pertanian Datuk Seri Muhammad Sabu akan adakan sidang media untuk bagi maklumat penuh tentang beberapa keputusan yang telah dibuat. Jadi saya percaya insya-Allah beliau akan adakan sidang media dalam masa terdekat.
On Tuesday, Datuk Seri Muhammad was reported to have said that all issues related to rice supply will be brought up for discussion in the cabinet meeting to find measures to deal with the issue. In fact, he will hold a meeting with India's Agriculture and Farmers Welfare Minister to express his intention in ensuring that the country continues to export white rice to Malaysia. Malaysia's technological transformation, including the rollout of the 5G network infrastructure, will not be sustainable if it does not provide equal benefits to all of the public. The Prime Minister who said this stressed that the implementation of such technological change must be fair and bring benefit to all and not just certain segments of society. Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim was speaking at the closing ceremony of Malaysia ICT Summit 2023 at the Malaysia International Trade and Exhibition Centre, MITEC, on Wednesday. He said to him, in the Madani philosophy, it cannot be sustainable if it is looked purely in terms of technological change or transformation without care, concern and compassion.
That's why our 5G network made it abundantly clear. It's just not a matter of technology, but it's a matter of ensuring that every single citizen, from the urban squatters or urban poor to the remotest area in Sabah or Sarawak, must be given that opportunity and access and connectivity. Otherwise, to my mind, it is not sustainable.
Anwar also said that a switch to having a dual 5G network would allow for more effective participation by China's Huawei, providing the nation with a balance of both Western and Eastern technologies. He also noted that the government had embarked on several major initiatives to boost transformation, including the National Digital Strategy, but at the same time, it requires a new mindset and attitude as well as preparedness for such changes. All relevant agencies, including the National Disaster Management Agency, NADMA, Civil Defence Force and Security Forces, were directed to remain at a high level of readiness following floods in several states. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi, who was also Central Disaster Management Committee Chairman, emphasised the need for these agencies to stay prepared, despite the fact that the Meteorological Department, Met Malaysia, has ended the alert level continuous heavy rain warning on Wednesday morning. He also advised those staying in flood-prone areas to remain cautious and adhere to instructions by the authorities. Zahid also prayed for the flood victims to find ease and strength in facing this disaster. The Ampang Sri Petaling Light Rail Transit, or LRT Line, is expected to resume operations on February 29th next year. This is to allow the comprehensive repair work on the damaged flyover and track structure near the Bandaraya LRT station to be completed. Rapid Rail Sdn Bhd, in a statement on Wednesday, said that the original plan was to complete the repair work and resume operations by the middle of October. However, some other damage had been detected on the structure of two nearby flyovers, which required comprehensive repair works. The transit operator added, after getting views and advice from its consulting engineers, additional work was required on these structures to ensure their safety, compliance with specifications, and the ability to meet normal operational criteria. It also said that the additional work has extended the restoration timeline by 3 months and that the expected completion would be subject to analysis and approval by relevant authorities. The company also extended its apology for the inconvenience caused to users, adding the decision to extend the restoration work timeline was to ensure that all damage can be identified and repaired to ensure the safety of commuters. Over in Kelantan, police nabbed an unemployed man along with 234,000 Yaba pills worth more than 2.5 million ringgit in Pasir Mas last Saturday. State Police Chief Datuk Muhammad Zaki Harun said the 26-year-old suspect was arrested by a team from the State Narcotics Crime Investigation Department at 11 p.m. During the raid, Zaki said the suspect was outside a car parked in the parking lot of a supermarket near Bandar Baru Pasir Mas. An inspection on the car's boot found 4 white sacks containing the Yaba pills. It was understood that the seized drugs, if successfully distributed, could be used by 234,000 addicts. The suspect did not have any previous criminal record and the drugs were believed to have been brought in from a neighbouring country. The suspect has been remanded for 7 days until September 30th. The probe is being carried out under the Dangerous Drugs Act. In other news, the Customs Department has seized 2.35 million sticks of contraband cigarettes valued at over 1.57 million ringgit, including unpaid taxes, which had been smuggled into the country from China. The illicit cigarettes were discovered inside a bonded lorry using a fake registration number plate in Gebeng, Pahang on September 9th. Negeri Sembilan Customs Director Muhammad Hafiz Isha said at a press conference in Seremban on Wednesday that a local man in his 40s, who was also the driver of the bonded lorry, was arrested in the operation. Based on initial investigations, the cigarettes were smuggled by a syndicate from the East Coast and were meant for distribution in the Klang Valley area. Separately, customs officers also managed to seize 20,809 beer cans of various brands worth 40,260 ringgit, with unpaid duties totaling 125,550 ringgit from a warehouse in the Nilai industrial area on the same day. Aside from the contraband, 4 men in their 40s and 50s, including a Myanmar national, were detained and a van was also seized in the operation. Both cases are being probed under the Customs Act and Excise Act. The shortage of local rice has caused serious concerns among consumers and producers. While the government has taken steps to alleviate the issue, industry experts are proposing alternative solutions. Natasha Boost has the report.
Having a hard time finding a bag of local rice? Reports of a shortage of local rice have been making its rounds.
Di antara puncanya panic buying, iaitu bila berlaku kenaikan harga beras import begitu tinggi yang selalunya beli beras import berubah ke beras tempatan yang menyebabkan ia dilihat berlaku shortage dan langkah-langkah kita ambil ini insya-Allah akan meletakkan semula beras tempatan di pasaran dengan lebih banyak.
However, local farmers have attributed the shortage to uncertain weather and crop diseases throughout the last harvest season from April to August. Then there's the ceiling price of rice, which stands at 2 ringgit 60 cents per kilogram. That works out to 26 ringgit for a 10 kilogram bag of rice. Prominent retailer Amir Ali Maidin says this ceiling price is too low and is actually discouraging the production of local rice. This is why he feels the ceiling price should be increased from 26 ringgit to 34 ringgit for a 10 kilogram bag of rice.
This move would improve cost structures for producers and help alleviate shortage. It's a better solution than trying to maintain the price at $26 per 10 kg, but supplies still run dry.
Now the government is looking at other solutions to ensure there is no shortage of rice for consumers. This includes allowing restaurants to buy imported rice at just 3 ringgit 20 cents per kilogram from Padi Beras Nasional Berhad or Bernas. Prior to this, many restaurants were using imported rice, but a hike in prices saw them switch to local rice, driving up demand in the process. Maidin says there is a need to ensure any good-intentioned measures do not give any business an unfair advantage.
Solutions must be simple, fair, and cannot lead to abuse. Malaysia is a big country with food stores all over the place. What about the canteen operators and small traders like those who offer menu rama?
Economist Ye Kim Leng says a better way to ensure fair distribution of subsidized imported rice would be to channel them through distribution centers nationwide.
The other one is to channel it to supermarkets where you already have an existing retail chain that is already quite efficient. So that could be also one channel to look into.
This, Ye says, will ensure that low-income households will have direct access to subsidized rice. Like Amir, Ye also believes the ceiling price of rice should be raised.
Yeah, I think we have to also allow the price to increase gradually, so that if you have too low a price, if the price is held at the current level, you may create shortages, given that wholesalers may not, or importers may actually suffer a loss.
But we are a growing nation, and that means the need for food will only increase. Luckily, this is something the government realizes.
The government is looking at ramping up rice production. So I think from 2 harvests per year to 2 years, I think that ramping up is important as part of the drive to ensure that there's food security, especially.
Natasha Bust, FMT for Nightline.
Now, the sucker-mouth catfish, or ikan bandaraya, has evolved into a significant ecological threat, endangering aquatic ecosystems by outcompeting other species. But from this aquatic menace, an unexpected opportunity arises. Jason Desmond and Shazwana Ameh have the story.
It doesn't have razor-sharp teeth or the looks of a cold-blooded killer. Yet the harmless-looking sucker-mouth catfish is proving to be an ecological villain. Colloquially known as ikan bandaraya, this highly adaptable bottom feeder is wreaking havoc on the river ecosystems of Klang Valley, to the detriment of native fish species. But this menacing invader does have one redeeming quality: its golden eggs.
Saya boleh cakap kalau betul-betul kita buat, kita boleh meraih pendapatan seminggu tu antara RM1,000 ke RM2,000 untuk telur bandaraya itu.
Trader Haziq A. Rahman began selling ikan bandaraya eggs due to high demand from customers on the East Coast.
Tapi sekarang demand pun dah tinggi apa semua. Harga tu bukan kita yang tetap tau. Itu pemancing-pemancing sendiri yang offer. Bila dah demand tinggi, dia orang sendiri cakap saya akan beli dengan harga RM50 ke RM60 1 kilo.
Haziq's foray into the ikan bandaraya egg business actually stemmed from his frustrations with the invasive species every time he went fishing. He would put out bait only to catch a sucker-mouth catfish.
Saya berfikir macam mana cara untuk kita nak mengurangkan populasi.
With the fish came their eggs, which Haziq soon began using as bait. Quickly, other anglers caught wind of his idea.
Kebetulan masa tu saya ada akaun media sosial, kita buat konten apa semua, saya post dekat media. Kita pakai umpan ni apa semua. Nak jadikan cerita, ada hamba Allah tu awal tahun 2022, ada hamba Allah ni daripada Malacca. Dia hubungi saya daripada media sosial, dia cakap boleh tak supply dekat dia umpan yang saya pakai sebelum ni. Saya cakap lah umpan yang mana satu kan. So bila dia flashback balik video saya, dia tunjuk telur bandaraya.
The eggs were to be used in a fishing competition in Malacca, and that's when Haziq realized there was money to be made from the ikan bandaraya's eggs. Intan Faraha Egani, a lecturer who specializes in aquaculture, says the ikan bandaraya's value goes beyond its eggs.
Okay, so sekarang ni kenapa kalau kita tengok harga makanan ikan atau pelet ikan agak tinggi disebabkan oleh harga fish meal yang yang semakin tinggi, harga corn meal yang semakin tinggi. So, salah satu cara untuk mengurangkan beban aquaculturist ataupun peternak ni adalah dengan menggunakan isi ikan bandaraaya itu yang kita tukarkan dia menjadi baja ikan dan digunakan untuk kita buat palet ikan.
It is clear that innovative solutions are needed to deal with the invasion of the ikan bandaraya. Equally important is raising awareness about the dangers of releasing suckermouth catfish into local ecosystems and the havoc they can wreak. Jason Desmond, FMT for Nightline.
Up next on Nightline, New York judge finds Donald Trump liable for fraud. This and more when Nightline returns. Stay tuned. In northern Iraq, a fire ripped through a packed wedding hall late on Tuesday, killing more than 100 people, as authorities announced an investigation into the blaze. Nineveh Province Deputy Governor Hassan al-Alak said 113 people had been confirmed dead, with state media putting the death toll to at least 100, with 150 people injured. According to survivors, hundreds of people were at the wedding celebration when the fire tore through the large event hall in Hamdaniya after flares ignited a ceiling decoration. Following the incident, firefighters searched the charred skeleton of the building in Karakush into Wednesday morning. Iraq's Interior Ministry in the meantime said it had issued 4 arrest warrants for owners of the wedding hall, and President Abdulatif Rashid had called for an investigation. Tens of thousands of ethnic Armenians rushed to flee the breakaway region of Nagorno-Karabakh on Wednesday after a lightning military operation by Azerbaijan that has recast the contours of the post-Soviet South Caucasus. So far, more than 28,000 of the 120,000 Armenians of Karabakh have crossed in the border into Armenia, a country of about 2.8 million. The Armenians stressed that they did not want to live as part of Azerbaijan, saying they feared ethnic cleansing at the hands of the nation. Armenia and Azerbaijan have fought 2 wars over the enclave in 30 years, with Azerbaijan gaining back swaths of territory in and around Nagorno-Karabakh in a 6-week conflict in 2020. A New York judge has ruled that Donald Trump committed fraud, a shocking ruling that poses an existential threat to the former president's financial empire as he runs for a second term in the White House. Judge Arthur Engoron, ruling in a civil lawsuit brought by New York's Attorney General, found that the former U.S. president and his company deceived banks, insurers and others by massively overvaluing his assets and exaggerating his net worth on paperwork used in making deals and securing financing. Engoron ordered that some of Trump's business licenses be rescinded as punishment, making it difficult or impossible for them to do business in New York. Trump, however, argued that he never committed fraud and that the challenge transactions were profitable. A South Korean court, meanwhile, on Wednesday rejected an arrest warrant for the leader of the main opposition party, Lee Jae-myung, on charges of bribery and breach of duty. The Seoul Central District Court ruled against prosecutors who sought the Democratic Party leader's arrest, saying there were insufficient grounds to support their argument that he may try to destroy evidence. Following this, Lee, who waited the decision at a detention facility where he would have been held had the judge approved his arrest, praised the court for safeguarding constitutional order. Justice Minister Han Dong-hun, however, said the arrest warrant review is part of a process that is not over, and the court's decision does not mean Lee is innocent. Up next on Nightline, Simon Carr wins Queen Stage, moves into race lead. Sports when we return. Stay tuned. We're back with sports news now. Football, the 2023 Super League. Johor Darul Takzim JDT have clinched the Super League crown for the 10th straight time, with 4 more matches to spare on Wednesday night. At the Sultan Ibrahim Stadium, the Southern Tigers demonstrated their superiority by trouncing PDRM 4-0 and set a record in domestic football that will be hard for other teams to emulate. The Southern Tigers did it in style on Wednesday night and got their goals through Bergson de Silva, Juan Muniz, Arif Aiman and Fernando Forestieri. JDT have 64 points in their 22 matches and have scored a mammoth 79 goals, conceding just 7 goals. Second place Selangor have 49 points from 22 matches and will bid from Ganu away from Friday. Sports, the 2022 Hangzhou Asian Games. Malaysia bagged its first gold medal after sailor Nur Shazrin Abdul Latif bagged the ILCA 6 gold at the Xiangshan Sailing Centre on Wednesday. The 25-year-old athlete from Pasir Gudang was in top position with 25 penalty points after 11 races to win her first gold. The victory has also secured Nur Shazrin a ticket to the 2024 Paris Olympic Games. Meanwhile, the national men's team Ragu squad secured at least a silver medal by defeating Laos 2-0 in the semi-final. The first Ragu of Nuraizat Nordin, Farhan Adam and Haziq Hairul Nizam faced fierce resistance from their opponents before winning 21-17, 21-19 in 53 minutes. The momentum continued with the trio of Azlan Alias, Amirul Zazwan Ame and Shahir Rosdi, who did not face any problems in trouncing the second Laos trio 21-14, 21-14 and sealing Malaysia's spot in the final. Moving on to cycling. Climber Simon Carr of EF Education Easy Post won Stage 5 of Le Tour de Langkawi, also known as the Queen Stage, on Wednesday. Carr crossed the line first in 3 hours, 24 minutes and 6 seconds, which started in Slim River and ended with an all-category summit finish in Genting Highlands. EF teammate Jefferson Alexander Cepeda finished second, 39 seconds adrift, while Equipo Kern Farmers Pablo Castrillo, another 48 seconds behind, completed the podium. Carr is also second in the mountains classification, 12 points behind two-door pro cycling team's Simon Peyo. Stage 1 winner, Afid Decline of two-door pro, remained in charge of the orange jersey with 30 points. The sixth stage, over 174.5 kilometres on Thursday, is from Karak to Malacca, involving 2 climb zones in Gapoy and Luar Inas and 3 sprint zones in Pelangai, Batu Kike and Kuala Pilah. When we return from this break, single mother and friend plead guilty to abusing son. Stay tuned. We're back with more news on the local front. The former CEO of Malacca Halal Hub, Sdn Bhd, Amir Ali, was charged in the Aikro Sessions Court with abusing his position to appoint his daughter as a financial officer at the company owned by the Malacca government in 2021. The 56-year-old pleaded not guilty to the charge read before Judge Elizabeth Payawan. He is accused of using his position to appoint his daughter, Nur Hafiza, to the position of finance officer in the company. The offence was allegedly committed at Malacca Halal Hub in Jasin in April 2021. Amir was charged under the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC Act 2009. If found guilty, he can be jailed for a maximum of 20 years. The courts allowed bail of 7,000 ringgit in one shorty. The case is being set for mention for the submission of documents on November 2nd. A single mother and her female friend, who is also her housemate, have pleaded guilty in the Johor Bahru Sessions Court to charges of abusing and neglecting her 7-year-old son. 27-year-old Nurul Ashikin Muhammad Zahir and 30-year-old Awin Chua, a Singaporean, changed their pleas to guilty when the case was mentioned on Wednesday. Judge V.M. Mabel Sheila then fixed October 10th to hear the facts of the case before sentencing. Both accused were jointly charged with abusing and neglecting the boy, causing the victim to suffer physical injuries. The two women committed the offence in a house in Bandar Layang Kasar, Pasir Gudang, between July 1st and August 9th this year. The charges under the Child Act provide a maximum fine of 50,000 ringgit or imprisonment of not more than 20 years or both if convicted. The court maintained Nurul Ashikin's bail of 15,000 ringgit in one surety for all charges and Awin's bail of 20,000 ringgit in one surety for all charges. They were also ordered to report themselves at a police station once a month pending the disposal of their case and to not intimidate the victim. With that, Nightline draws to a close. Before that, let's take a look as a German skydiver became the first person to detach from a paraglider mid-air, where he performed a 100-meter freefall before flying past the world-famous Neuschwanstein Castle at a top speed of 200 kilometers per hour. With that, I'm Anita. Thank you for watching. Salam Malido Russell, and have a lovely week ahead.